What's with the bottle?
Shoot the other day about Ingolosiao. Purely one, but that's something I've never seen before. Okay, right, starts walking. It's following the signs. Yo. Maga figure out since man, they've been waiting for him. It was never about the wings, Mfano. It's the fire in you.
Because khona izinto ekumele sizenze khona imikhosi ekumele siyigubhe esingayigubhi sigubha uChristmas sigubha o Easter utshela ngama Easter bunny ngapha khona o Playboy bunny singena lapha sibusisi.
This is the Hustlers Corner.
Sanbonani Dumelang, Di Machironi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good everything, wherever you are, all over the world. Hustlers and squatters. Penuel was supposed to be here before you guys killed me. He just could not make this interview. He was meant to be here. But this one is a big one, and I'm quite excited. First up, let's go straight to the shop sign as usual. On the count of 1, 2, 3. Click, 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 click that like button. Click, click, thank you. Come to that subscription button as well. Click so you become a part of the family, so the family grows. Guys, remember, there is a link on the description that takes you straight to our other brand new podcast called Virtual Mkhulu with Penuel the Black Pen. Go subscribe to that podcast as well. We will be migrating Virtual Mkhulu from the Hustlers Corner to its own platform next year, January, the first Monday of 2023. But we're quite excited. A few weeks ago, we had Mkhul'Nsingiza come here on a very beautiful interview where we got to learn a lot from what he shared and what he said. And I guess a lot of the virtual squatters and hustlers out there, part of the community of the podcast, said, Busiso, don't sleep on this idea. Follow on, because this is not just an idea. It's a very important thing for our young people to know about our history and for something to be done. At least start something, even if it starts small and then it grows. And over the past couple of weeks, you guys have been asking me and Penuel and saying, hey, what's going on? Is Mkhulu coming back? How far are we with the African New Year on the 23rd of September? And then I kind of felt, okay, let's invite Mkhulu to come back. And I was so blessed that as we've been talking with Mkhulu, there is somebody who's known Mkhulu longer than I have, and somebody who's worked closely with him and who has been in the space. He's been an inspiration to a lot of people. He was a part of YFM. He's an entrepreneur. He's a father. He's a family man. He was been a part of the youth culture for many years. Was editor of Y Magazine. He has hosted radio shows on different platforms from YFM, Power FM, currently on Radio 2000, and he's getting into the podcast space very soon as well. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the day, he was the Rudeboy Paul.
Sibusisa kunjani?
Ngijabulele ukubona.
No, siyaphila phansi komthunzi welanga ku Hustlers Corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Siyayidlulisa lento. Benithini imnandi ngendebe eningi. Nazo.
Congratulations. It's good to hear you back on 2000.
Yeah, man, no. But thank you very much. I think more than anything for me, it was the last box to tick. In as far as my radio engagement is concerned, which is the first love. I just love the medium, the promptness of it, the liveness of it, the immediateness of it, and things of such nature. So, one has been around the block, community into regional, out of regional. I was busy with, a digital platform before hopping onto this national platform. And I think last box to tick in as far as radio is concerned, I possibly can write a book about it now, because I've done all the elements in as far as radio is concerned. So, so I'm happy to be back on radio, national platform, Radio 2000. And just giving the people, what they need, edutainment. Nazo.
Yeah.
Nazo.
Mkhulu is the founder of the great empire of Kemet movement. He's also the CEO of the Zindzi Mandela Foundation. He's coming back here for the second time. Thokoza Mkhulu.
Thokoza, Kes.
Yeah, sibonge kakhulu nge-interview esibe now last time. You've really gotten us excited.
Thokoza. This is what we're hoping to actually do, Tina, as abantu abadala. We don't leave youth in the dark, so siyabonga kakhulu, because the first interview it engaged a lot of youth. Youth that is very much interested in building a better future for the country.
Yeah.
So siyabonga kuwe ne platform virtual Mkhukhu Penwell as well. Takoza ke.
I'll tell him
Takoza.
he really wanted to be here, but I think he's got some engagements with his children that unfortunately he couldn't get out of.
Yes.
And it was difficult to just match all of their schedules, seeing how busy both of you are, yabo. And I'm actually glad and excited that you've had a longer relationship with this gentleman. This is the man who first, before I started working with, even before I was introduced to Kabzela, Nabo Fresh and the whole gang, Paul was one of the first guys to open the microphone for me at YFM.
Sure.
Yeah, and Paul embraced me. Angangazi ukuthi ngubani.
Ungasho.
And Paul loved me from back then.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're still alive and says us Abu Baba. Paul Uhleli across the table with me.
Talk about Paul Babsbu. Grotman Dimer. We embrace it. It's okay.
And you embraced our longest radio show. So we basically have a world record for the, our title is what, Konja, is world's longest music radio show.
Okay.
Basically, we did a radio show for 9 days in a row, non-stop.
Aibo.
And Upol came and blessed us with his presence while he was out of the spotlight. He's always said, I don't want to do, I don't want to be in public.
Yes,
I don't want to be, and Paul has been under the radar for many years now. What the good thing for the interview, it took a lot, but he was like, you know what, for you, I'll do it.
Yeah,
and
sure,
because
sure.
it's for a good cause and it's a World Cup world record experience.
Yeah.
Zazwakala was shyly around Sahlala. Internet being a blow up. Yes, it was during the lockdown, but it wasn't where it is right now. Actually, it even reminded me, I need to take that interview, cut it up, and bring it back again now that people are online.
Sure.
So
sure.
for logo ngiyakubonga mfethu, thanks a lot.
Angithi wahlokoloza inyoka ihlelele emgodini. Wayihlokoloza, wayinukubeza. Iyaphuma.
And kunjalo.
Unisomvula uphuma ngemvula.
Injalo. Ayihlokolozwa lenyoka yakubo. Banesiziba lapha eSwazini.
Sakamantsholo.
Banenyoka lapha eyaziwayo. Kuthiwa iveza ikhanda nje. Makuvela undaba ezitha leSwazini.
Thokoza.
But the rest of the time ingozi. Bathi kube kwazama abanye belungu bathi basibulala lesasiziba kwafa abantu. So umthakathi wangempela
Thokoza mkhulu.
Nikuzwe wena naye nikhuluma ngesililo sika Nomkhubulwano around the times of when we had floods in the KZN. And it was beautiful to hear it from a spiritual perspective from an elder. Maybe we can even touch on that a little bit right now, because I'm also interested in hearing about your relationship no Paul ukuthi yaqala kanjani iphuma kuphi.
No, sure. Yes, besiye lapha eBigville eMangwaneni. Besiyenza lo mkhosi esithi umkhosi kaNomkhubulwane, isililo sika Nomkhubulwane. We were bidding farewell to the sun, as it was officially leaving the southern hemisphere now, jumping over to the northern hemisphere. So there's a lot of things that are not, going okay, especially for black people. Remember, Tina singabantu bomoya. Yonke into yethu must be informed by umoya. So therefore, when we sihlubuka, we move away from our source of power. Because our ancestors, Yibo, who actually counsel us as to how we should actually take, this country forward. But now, if you see Hlubugile, we've disconnected from our source of power, then namadlozi ayakwata. Yingakho uzothola ukuthi, kuba nezifo that are really, really unexplainable. Ukuthi yenzeka kanjani lento le? Ngoba umoya wase-Africa, amadlozi ase-Africa, they're very angry. Ukuthi thina sibahlubukile sahamba sayokhothamela amadlozi abanye abantu. All the time when we embark, in ceremonies as a country, as an example, the Easter and the Christmas, celebration, where everybody gets involved or participate. It has nothing to do namadlozi ethu, but it has to do namadlozi abantu base West. So these are the things ezenza ukuthi sing amadlozi maybe when they look back babuke I generation abayishile. Remember ukuthi some of them they died in defense of this land. Tina lese siphisana ngayo without even fighting siyekelela izinto. So those are the things okumele sibuyele emuva and realign with umoya wala eAfrica so that sivuselele amandla ethu. Abantu abamnyama need to realize ukuthi amandla awekho enyameni. It's not physical. The power is not physical. The power is spiritual. Once you understand the spiritual power, then there's no stopping you. Especially
umoya
wena Kehla. Umoya is very important. Remember, no Miriam washo ukuthi yizwe lomoya leli. Do you understand? And asikwazi ukulubusa ngaphandle kwalo moya. Tina siumoya at the core of our being. The physicality that you see is just an enclosure for this divine a spirit that lives within all of us. So therefore we've got to be in alignment with that spirit, lower moya. If we are out of alignment, all negative things will happen to us.
Your relationship nomkhulu.
Well, mina umkhulu ngiyamazela nje. We had never really met. And then I was astounded at some point where I was seeing a program on Soweto TV. Ngiyakhohlwa ukuthi benibizana le program. Ebandla. Umkhulu, there was a hotel lapha in
Soweto Hotel.
Yeah, Soweto Hotel. They would sit there, not Dr. Sumadota, Mfokafikeni.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Sumadota Fikeni, who many would know as a political analyst. But, they would indulge and engage in African and spiritual matters. And, it would suggest that, just being at home at times and bumping into this program. And I thought, hey, lamadoda yakhuluma mas. So I started recording the program because time-wise, I could not always catch it or engage it every other, week as I had loved to. So whenever I get time, then I would sit possibly on a weekend or on a Sunday and I would watch it, as a bouquet. Maybe I've missed 4 or 5 weeks. And that was just round about, the time. When was it? 2012, 2011? 2011, somewhere there. By 2013, I had hopped on back on radio on that regional platform, Power FM. And, what you see and what resonates with you always sort of comes. So I reached out to him, to say, Leang Kulumo, any Kuluma nomhlekazi. Dr. Somadota Fikeni. Namdi ayifuna for yeah. What uyifuna ku ngathi ngiyifuna emsakazweni. Yo, what ngimthokoza Khehla. Ngathi kuye thokoza mkhulu. And then we started then before even jumping on air, just acquainting ourselves with each other. And I think umoya wethu sort of resonated. And that was a point where, a Sunday was dedicated, to those spiritual sessions that we had, Nomkhulu. Bokuyisonto lethu. Tina nalaba abasilalelayo. Kube congregation yethu. That's where we just unleash our spiritual beings as African people, as black people. Our aspirations on how, we want to navigate through this maze, because we are living in two sides. We are living in a Western constructed environment, but yet sisekai. So we need to break loose, from those constraints and develop a sense of us and a sense of being, so that we know naturally we can exist in this environment and make it work. Because kuse Africa la kuse kaya, but we're living in two different, platforms on it. And hence, bayakhala onomkhubulwane nomvelinqanga
yes,
because
yes.
we don't follow a process or due process, so to speak. Because khona izinto ekumele sizenze, khona imikhosi ekumele siyigubhe esingayigubhi. Sigubha Christmas, sigubha o Easter, utshela ngama Easter bunny, ngapha khona o Playboy bunny, singena lapha. Sibusisi. Playboy bunny uyangena lapha.
Angeni ngazelaphi mina UF nangimazelaphi. This is it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Paul nangihlangana naye mina from back in the day. Actually back then he looked like this.
Oh no.
He had long dreadlocks.
Basawakhalela ama dreadlocks akhe namhlanje.
Mina bengizithandile Stariyane.
I remember.
Back in those days.
He always used to look on top of his game.
No, sure,
dress wise,
he was.
I mean, I was narrating to him that does he remember at some point he'd wear yellow, cool, and then he'd wear yellow top to bottom. I'm talking cap.
Yeah.
I'm talking t-shirt. If it's a t-shirt, a shirt, yellow jeans.
Yes.
Yellow. Amateki a yellow. And then eat DJ back mhlambe enama record ibe yellow nayo ungazumbuza ukuthi ensizwa nehanda peni yellow into njengale.
Paul was already conscious,
But he loved himself. Yeah. Always.
You've always been conscious, Paul, ever since I've known you.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was not aware of what you were preaching. And you were so smart because not only were you a part of igniting that hip-hop culture in the country with Oscudo through Repactivity Jam, but you were also playing in the poetry space, Nabu Julius Makweru, and all these different...
Jungle Connection, Doran
Fontaine.
Correct.
Actually, yours, you even took it to radio. You actually took things to radio when that other people... Actually, things that you took on radio were not even all the way up to when you were appointed to become Y magazine editor.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that article where you introduced us to Ukoko, to may he so rest in peace. Ukoko Credo Mutwa Vusamazulu. I didn't even know about the book Indaba My Children. It was until because of you. Only now it kicks in for me.
Yes.
Into when no one introduced Iona over 15 years ago.
Yeah, but look at how things align. Mkhul'Nsingiza was a student of Ubab Credo Mutwa, even way before I met Ubab Credo Mutwa. And it so happened that, through my alignment, as Azanyan Pulse, the first offering, the cover shoot I did at the Credo Mutwa village. I shot it there, Soweto. Even before I met Ubab Credo Mutwa, and thereafter, the YMAG element came through, and then I went down to Henops River to go and sit down in Nesanuse school, Ubab Vusamazulu Mutwa. But then as I begin to speak to Mkhulu, when we connect, I find out he's also a student. Well, not also because I wasn't a student, but he's a student of Ubab Credo Mutwa. So things sort of align in the most beautiful way in as far as, a relationship yami no Mkhul'Nsingiza.
So Mkhulu ukhabule from a well, because that was a well of knowledge.
Hey,
Buga Cash. Hey man, the way I was so obsessed in knowledge. Bengiqiqa lapha ama weekends bese ngingasenawo. Every time ungifuna uzongithola kaBab Credo. I remember at some point Bab Credo recommended a book by Zachariah Sitkin, where he was talking about the 12th planet. That book, or it's a series of books by Zachariah Sitkin. Those are the books that explain ukuthi thina were actually created by the gods that descended from Engulubeni, the stars there in the Orion belt. And we are test tube babies. So Ubab Credo recommends this book. Uyangibonisa uthi naingwan.
This is the book.
Yeah, no.
Oh, this
this is the African calendar.
Oh, this is African calendar.
Uyangibonisa.
Oh, Zenai. Okay. We'll get into this later. Yeah, I'm excited.
Uyangibonisa Ubab Credo uthi nayi incwadi kaZachariah Sitkin. Hamba uyifuna le ncwadi le. Mina I thought ukuthi uzonginikeza incwadi. Athi hamba uyifunda uzobuya. Uthi nayi angikukuniki. Go and find your own. Ngifone around, the country. The only copy that was available, it was lapha Centurion exclusive books. Hayi nya Russia ngibuya la angisakhumbuli besibuya kuphi. Ngirasheke ngithi ngiyofuna lencwadi. On my way bengihamba nendlovukazi uZindzi. On my way siyofuna lencwadi sitholi accident. Sirole kanje. Thrice. Fortunately besamba ngekar enkulu that was protective enough in terms of ukuba solid kwayo.
Safety, yeah.
Saphuma lapha singenalutho, but what was very strange to us, the first people who came to rescue us were people from intelligence. So sasola right from there. We refused to go with them. And fortunately, abantu bazosilanda basilanda. Listen what happens. Azange siye esibhedlela qala. I said to them, ngicela ukuyolanda lencwadi. Ngingene exclusive books ngiqhuka ndoda ngiqhuka. Ngizofuna lencwadi ngithi mengaye esibhedlela nginale ncwadi I'm fine. And that's exactly what happened. Wow. That's exactly what ngangena ngiqhuka lapha ngayithola lencwadi ngathi no sesingaye esibhedlela manje. Yeah. So that was the fire and ilenduza intshisakalo for knowledge. Not only ubab Credo but also omunye umuntu osincedile because research yami ngangiyenza vele nendlovukazi. We're doing all these things together. Omunye umuntu owasikhanyisela uFarrakhan. uFarrakhan has played a big role, in terms of motivating us. And for me, I regarded him as the example of what a black leader should be like. Farrakhan, as much as he's in a hostile country and in a hostile environment, he controls the billions, of dollars that circulates amongst the nation of Islam. So for me, it was a model which must be replicated all over Africa. To say our leaders should learn something from Farrakhan. I mean, Tina Lai Africa, we have all the resources. Bona resource. Because they don't even have a land, but they were able to actually stimulate, that economic development in their communities. Okwamanje, Farrakhan controls billions, and those billions, they circulate amongst the people. So this is what, I was really hoping, some of our people would actually learn from, because Farrakhan, ulenduza criticize abelungu for whatever reasons. Do you understand? But there's something very good he is doing in as far as developing a black person. If a leader like Farrakhan can develop black people in an environment that is like America, what's wrong with our leaders here on the continent? When they have the power, or the so-called power, they have the resources to develop abantu abamnyama. Do you understand? So, Ubabu Credo, Abo Farrakhan, there are a lot of people abo Phil Valentine, abo Mfundishi, abo Shikhanta Diop,
yeah.
abo Theophilo Benga. Those were people, and the younger law information, isuka kubani, Ubab Credo. Remember me now, mengihlangana no Ubab Credo. I was involved in a partnership like a stock market at the GSE. We had a partnership there. We're pushing our resources. We started a resource company. We would look for resources all over, then supply, people overseas. So, mina zonke lezinto benganandaba nazo. Bengfana nawe. Faka mathai every day, yonke lento. But now, ngahlangana no Bab Credo.
Good.
It changed everything. It changed everything. That's when I decided to even stop wearing a tie. Because, a tie for me, it now symbolized, it was a symbol of a Western, a philosophy. So I stopped wearing a tie. Namasud, I had to start from scratch. Ngatunga manje. I no longer bought Italian suits and whatever. I then bought material and gave it to the guys to design a fresh new thing. Why? Because lento melu iphile. It's not something okumele uvakashele nje over weekend. It has to be the culture of choice.
Actually, weekend special.
No. See, weekend special. It has got to be a culture of choice. And if we can develop that, especially youth, you guys have got to make African culture the culture of choice. So that umuntu angakhaleli to be an Italian or a German or whatever. Be proud of who you are, because if value yakho surpasses everybody else, in the world.
And Paul has been doing it for longer. I mean, for the past 4 years, I've been intentional. Ngigqoka local every day.
Thokoza.
And it's intentional. And it's I don't want to say
it's a mind shift.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
usendlini uyihwana usibhekile esipilini ngigqokani.
Ninjani.
Futhi njani and ngizizwa kanjani.
Sure.
Because also impahla oyigqokayo, it's all about the attitude and the mindset. It's not good abantu bazibuka ukuthi
No, sure.
Ungagqoka iskipa esiplain marufile wena ukuthi yabona lesi singenza ngifile sengathi.
Siyakhuphula.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
And for me now, I've been in this journey for 4 years. It's a beautiful journey. I'm learning so much from it. And I'm not in the business of telling abantu kumele benzeni bona ngeimpilo zabo, but
they will decide.
as I've intentionally decided in Kogi local every day, the past 4 years has been interesting. How has it been for you, Paul?
That's beautiful.
You've been doing it longer, my man. African.
It's just been a lifestyle, and intentionally so. Like Mkhulu says, at a point la uvuka khona ebuthongweni, and then you decide ukuthi ukuze ngiyiphile lento, every element around me must be about this. And then it's easier to then connect. Webo? Nayo lento le ozama ukuyiphila as in a lifestyle to a degree. So a sense of dress, hits home as well. It goes right there, to say you are intentionally, doing this so that no muzbuga espilin before upumendlin. You understand who you are, what your intention is. Mayo pumalapa, whoever is, gonna, be in your space.
Yes.
Now, but they will realize, okay, there's something different.
Yeah.
And they will ask you if they're interested, and you will tell them. And then you start opening up conversations in every space that you bounce to. No muvuye itori itengeli sinkwa, mufike garage yotel petrol emotweni yakho. You begin to have conversations around, and you are consciously aware every day, every hour of who you are.
No, sure.
Yeah.
That is very important, when because gunale false idea ukuthi we are global citizens, right? Yes, we are global citizens, but you have to go to the global stage with your own identity. Look at the Chinese. Look at the Israeli, people. Look at the Indians. They go to the world stage with their identity.
Correct.
Because when you go there and you mimic people who are there already, you look like a fool. Because what can they learn from you? It's like uhambe usuke la uyocula ufuna ugu compete with the boys to men. No. Abantu base America, they don't want that. Bafuna raw African music that teaches them something. So now you can't compromise ukuthi. As an example, when they were launching Ilenduza Africa Union, all of them, 70% of them, or 90% of them, Bebe Faga Matai, and they were launching an African thing.
This was in the 60s, wasn't it?
No, recently.
Oh, this
when Gaddafi was here.
It was the OAU and then into
AU. It was launched here in South Africa. Gaddafi and everybody was here.
Yes.
I can count them. It was Gaddafi, it was the Nigerian president, I think it was Algeria, about 4 or 5 people. But the rest of these African leaders were wearing ties.
President.
It was President Mbeki.
Oh, bekafake.
It means ukuthi for me, you are sending a message to the colonizer to say, as much as we are in this struggle, but we still belong to you. Mentally, you still have us. Because how are you teaching me as an African child? How am I supposed to be proud of myself? you know.
Fana njengamalawyer aqokana naleza inywele lezana emacourt.
Yes. I mean, that's a colonial thing, you know.
No, it's a phone call. Remember, into as a Kemet.
Iphume Kemet. But then Bona, they started making these wigs in England. But then, you know, if ubheka lento le, you know, the gold and blue, as a Kemet ekipit.
Yes.
That's where it originates from, and then they took it to that end. Bayenza ngendlela yabo kwaba yinwele zabelungu, and then obviously with government you know, systems and colonization, you know, now you see you know, black magistrates and judges within the continent wearing these things.
Oh no, sure.
And lento yenza njani ivala umqondo na injalo.
Yakubulala. Yakubulala. It suffocates. It suffocates your mind. You know?
Yaqeda.
And you look so foolish. You look so foolish ukuthi uhamba ngephone call. Why ungalandi the original one? Do you see? So asiyekeni ukuthi sizenze. It's so unfortunate ingakho kumele siyeke ukuzembarasa on the world stage. We've got to be proud of who we are as African people. And that's the only way we are going to get a respect all over the world. Masiloko simimika abanye abantu. And we are the original people. What does that do to the whole world? If the parents are confused, but confused by ingane, what is that? So it doesn't show any love for self. Because when you love yourself, you know, you go and go and demonstrate and show ukuthi uthandiswa uthi uphinqe ngani. Do you understand? You are proud of your. Hey, mele ubakhombise.
Uzawundazi uba ndibhinqe ngani.
Injalo.
Yebo. King
Tar. So, ama efforts kabab Credo. Nathi silandela endlele emzileni kabab Credo. Ama efforts kabab Credo was to educate ingane zakhe so that they stop being slaves. Do you understand? Yes, we are in this colonial setup, but you are free to be an African even within this Western construct. No, but ultimately, this Western construct has to fall, and the yini gezovuka. Do you understand? This is what youth should be worried about. Youth shouldn't be worried about themselves. They should worry about ingane zabo. Ukuthi bona, if basathunjiwe, they are still colonized namanje. What's going to happen to ingane zabo? And fortunately, bakhona abantu abafana nathi who still possess knowledge. You know, for you to come up with a solution, you've got to do proper diagnosis of the problem. Ukuthi problem yethu la South Africa yini. Do you understand? So, kumele sisolve from empandeni. So that when we come up with a solution, we come up with a long-term solution. I'm truly worried ukuthi thina mesihamba la emhlabeni. Siyoshiya ingane zethu soloko ziyiqila for visitors who came here so and overstayed their visit.
Kumqoko ukuthi like yesterday siqala ukudiagnose. After diagnose, si prescriber iyeza umuthi.
Sure.
Loyo muthi
ngempela
siyawusela sihlambuluke
njalo khaya
and then siphile
njalo khaya.
And part of the solution, Mkhulu speaks about the African calendar, your understanding of the Kemet Afrikan Royal calendar.
There's a Gregorian calendar, first and foremost, that you find, which is a calendar that we use the world over. And there are certain spaces and places, like like the Chinese who prefer to use their calendar, bagubhi imikhosi yabo. You'll hear ukuthi, hey, this year is the year of the tiger. This year is the year of the dog. China. Ethiopia, ikhona neyabo abayilandelayo. In New Year, they dedicated to a specific time and place and space. And then there's the African calendar that Mkhulu illustrates in that book, which is really sort of highlights our way of living within the Southern Hemisphere. Nemikhosi yethu esigubhayo as abantu, the Bantu people, Southern Hemisphere. And that obviously would indicate or highlight imikhosi yethu esigubhayo, like the 23rd of or is it the 21st of June, what we dub the African Christmas, the Festival of Soccer, which is coming up,
yes, in Durban,
mind you, Mkhulu. Yes.
What is the African Christmas ngesintu?
Uzwa ke Kesh, the original name of or the foundation of the word Christmas, it has nothing to do with Jesus. You plagiarism that the Westerners did. It means ka, res, spirit body, then mass, birth.
Ka is spirit.
Yes.
You can look everywhere. K-A is
res,
spirit.
mass. Do you understand? That was the original. When the sun hits the winter solstice, then it makes a U-turn. That signifies a spiritual birth for the Southern Hemisphere. Ogwamanj, on the 21st of June, that's exactly what will happen. The sun is making a U-turn. Now it hits the most northern point, of northern hemisphere. And on that day, it makes a U-turn, now coming back. So that is spiritual rebirth of the sun.
Uyakhumbula lilu nomkhubulwane?
Yeah.
Ilanga ngithi belahamba.
Lamba, yes.
Selenzani?
Liyabuya.
Seliyabuya. Lento besikhuluma ngayo earlier, you said isililo saka nomkhubulwane. Uyalilo nomkhubulwane ilanga.
Yes.
Naselihamba. Liyabuya ke manje. Uyajabula kunomkhubulwane ngoba ilove yakhe iyabuya.
So
they want dynamic.
Kukhulunywa about the rebirth of the nurturing energy of the sun. And it's nothing else but hydrogen. Because the hydrogen here that makes everything, come alive on earth. And here ends during spring, everything starts greening. It's hydrogen. Do you understand? So when the sun is away from earth on the southern hemisphere, everything, it becomes a latent period because nothing grows. The sun is away from us. So on that day, on the 21st of June, is the day of hope. Ukuthi definitely Ilanga is coming back, and that period will be confirmed by the when it enters the southern hemisphere on the 23rd of September.
No, Nyanda, ngiyaqolisa ukudisturba Paul.
No problem. I'm just saying it sounds like inganekwane, but it is what it is. Like sometimes when you read the Bible, you think, hey, this is a well put, like story, of a fictitious mind and things like that. But if you look at it spiritually, it makes sense, especially when you correlate it or collaborate it into nature and how nature evolves or seasons change, from one season to another. Like Mkhulu has just told you, ilanga malbalega, hydrogen is not there, and that's why, everything is dry, leaves start falling and things like that. As soon as the sun makes its way back, things start to green out, the beautiful flowers start to bloom, this pollination takes place. All of this wildlife is out there, and it's a beautiful scene and sight. And when you look up, that sun is shining. So if you look at it via nature, it all makes sense. But ukhona umlando wayo ohamba ngale, nawo okumele uwazi, and you correlate the two, and it makes total sense.
No, it
Because
does.
abantu abaningi is confused.
Yes.
And manje kuba worse, as much as there's just this influx of beautiful information. There's also a lot of confusion that comes with it. And there's also a lot of false information as well.
Correct.
No, false information. Enye into, bese ke kuba ne lentuza ne ignorance yabantu. Remember ukuthi for lo mkhosi siubiza ukuthi it's a soka ceremony, meaning ukuthi the sun was in hibernation, the sun was in confinement, but on the 21st of June it's like kuvuleka that confinement liyavuka ilanga is being reborn. Do you understand? So yingakho siya lapha elentuzeni ukuyomvuthelela, siyovuthelela umvelinqangi ukuthi umphehli wakhe womkhumbi welanga, the boat of a million years, meaning ukuthi angithi ilanga alali, ilanga works 24 hours, so lihamba ke nalo mkhumbi walo weminyaka. Then siyovuthelela umphehli womkhumbi ukuthi angayeki ukuphehla, because siyalidinga, we need the warmth in the southern hemisphere, we need to grow things. But if ilanga liqhelile, imagine if ilanga were to say no, boycott, I'm no longer going to the southern hemisphere, what will happen to us? What will happen to us?
Angeke ilanga liboycott, should lihlale
Lihlala linjalo
so
ke.
thina ngamanye amagama operator against
Linjalo ke.
operator against a system that was created uNkulunkulu
By nature.
ehlala injalo
Injalo.
And that's nature. It's simple.
and it's simple.
It's simple.
Ngoba
Like
noma ungayichaze kanjalo.
it's simple.
Nature ihlala injalo.
Follow nature, follow the seasons
Yes.
of nature,
Yes.
and you will get it.
And ipower ke sibu, it's in understanding that is spiritual knowledge. Because when you plug yourself and reconnect yourself with that spirit, you yazujabulisa umveli. Imagine how many years Kemet fell, thousands of years, and how many people abase Africa basadumisa umvelinqangi in his purest form or her purest form. Bangaki. Imagine ke ukuthi umvelinqangi uthini meke sibuka thina siyi creation yakhe simflathele. Ufuna ukungitshela ukuthi iAfrica izolunga? Angeke ilunga, because we are disconnecting ourselves from the source of power. There's no other source of power in the world except ilanga. Umvelinqangi, Amatha, Ramasedi. Okhokho bethu told us ukuthi that is the creator and nobody else. And remember ukuthi ilanga lishisa hydrogen, carbon to produce hydrogen. And wena nami everybody else, DNA yethu is bonded by hydrogen. So as long as ilanga lilapha siyaphila. The day ilanga were to disappear, ilanga were to disappear, everything dies on earth,
Including us.
everything dies. Ihlahla yonke into, because that i-Eskom yethu. What happens when there's load shedding?
Energizer
Sikhala kangakanani?
energizer le carbon ekuthina.
Yebo.
Nama protons of ekuthina.
Yes, so, yes.
Carbon being le nto esibiza imelanin.
Yebo.
Yeah.
Injani?
Energize.
Currency electricity.
Yeah,
See.
so mayingekho.
Siyo.
Yeah.
Sinogesi la ngaphakathi.
Sinogesi.
Sicontrolwa yilo gesi.
And kahle hle thina abafuni ukuthi sibone lokho ukuthi sinalo gesi and
Injalo.
singakhona uku-activate.
And siyawu-activate
Izinto
kalula.
zenzeka.
Uzwa.
Ake siunikeni u-Eskom bafethu lo gesi. Ake silo gesi, asike siunikeni u-Eskom sikhanyisele.
No, Tina, we have an ability to power a bulb through our body. Because of the melanin that is here, the electricity that we have, we have that, ability. But we need to go back to the ways of our forefathers. Oh, our forefathers, they were very powerful because of this connection. Once you disconnect from this spiritual knowledge, you become, a slave, you become powerless. You become vulnerable.
Nathina abantu abadala undinga zithebeni.
Injalo, Keshe. We are not grounded. Hey.
Undinga zithebeni.
Let's talk about the where it starts, which is what a lot of our communities out there, the community Yayole podcast, iti Sibusiso, we were so enlightened from that episode that we are interested to learn more, and some of us are even interested to want to start knowing and celebrating that African New Year, and even others, and just understanding how this cosmic world works. But it starts with, you were saying to me the last time, Mkhulu, inzalo yelanga, what they would call the Adam's calendar in Mpumalanga, is where on the 23rd, you guys would go near Patha. I would like for you to explain that to us, because there is a community of ours here on this podcast that would like to join and come and learn. And I'm one of those people. I'd love to know, what do you guys do on the 23rd in a New Year? What then do you guys do on different dates? And how can we help this movement grow? And as we've got this platform, as we'll keep on coming back to report to Abantu, but how do we fuel this thing, man? What's the solution, basically?
The solution when I Kesha, especially Nina ma platforms. Ama platforms should be used to assist youth, so that they understand izinto zabo. Leya site le, remember ukuthi inzalo yelanga, it's along what is called the Golden Meridian. Lapha la elenduza, abantu bangabi confused. Nge 21 senza the soccer.
That 21 of what? June.
Of June.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Soccer.
We are going to the southern point of that Golden Meridian. What is the Golden Meridian? The Golden Meridian, it is the electromagnetic field of Earth. La itabula khona umhlaba, phakathi. Meaning ukuthi la, remember ukuthi Earth receive the electrofield from the sun and the magnetic field from the moon. So all these fields zihlangana la emhlabeni wethu. These fields, they make everything in life to be possible. La emhlabeni.
That's why you see the ebb and flow of the ocean.
Yebo.
To our high tide, low tide.
Yebo.
It's all of these energies and magnetic poles.
Yes.
Sun, moon.
Yes.
Sun, moon.
Yes. So
Nature.
zihlangana la on Earth to form what is called the electromagnetic field, which is the field that makes everything, live, everything grow. So mesiya lapha sisuke siyobalansa our own electromagnetic field, so that whatever imbalances you have inside you, maulapa, automatically you get a balance, because the male and female energy controller wena gets into equilibrium. Ubuya lapha uphilile. Do you understand?
Just ukuba
lapha. Uzwa ubaba Credo even said ukuthi that place is the holiest place on the continent. It's the holiest place on the continent. Do you understand? It means ukuthi le ndawo le yimekha yethu. Ama Arab anemekha yabo le, ama China yenze izinto zabo, thina imekha yethu as black people in the world ilapha. Inzalo yelanga. So it is the most potent, place for energy. Yingakho amakhehla, we normally go there ukuyovuselela. Out of mess up pollution, yonke lento corrupt your system, you just go there once a year. Uyovuselela. Do you understand? So manje sihabula enzalo as well as lapha elentuzeni, eThekwini. Because eThekwini, that electromagnetic field ifike ichithele lapha eThekwini, la sobe sikhona on the 20th, from the 20th to the 21st, right at the end lapha ePhoenix. Kahle indawo yakhona la ichithela khona this electromagnetic ichithelo lwandle kuse Bluff. but we were not allowed to hold our ceremony at Bluff because abelungu basitshela ukuthi no, kunama grounds erapi. You know, they won't allow us to do lo mkhosi wethu. That was a hurting, you know, for us. We had to then settle for Phoenix. If Phoenix is still along the same bed, you know, with, you know, band of this electromagnetic field. So we'll be there at Phoenix on the 21st. Siyo Khabula, lo moya, you know, of the electromagnetic, you know, field.
And the electromagnetic field ikhuphuka
yes
ngecontinent iziyoshaya kuma Great Pyramids of Giza.
Iqala la sobesikona.
Yes.
eDurban,
Yes.
eThekwini.
Yes.
Iyoshaya le ku Pyramid of Giza. The very same line. And uzwake abelungu, the way bazazi ngakhona lezinto, they've bought farms all over the Golden Meridian. All over those farms are bought.
Batholani ke
Thina makumele siyophahla.
Yes.
Kumele sicele kubo. In our own country. It's unfair. These are the things okumele nina nilungise. But nizozilungisa kanjani many divided ngale ndlela.
Hey, sisadla
You can
ubuthongo
never.
sasalele mkhulu.
Sisadla ubuthongo.
Hey, manje buka. Sisekhona thina.
Yeah.
Sisekhona for us to provide the content. For us to assist you guys to diagnose the problem yenu and what steps you need to take. Yingakho we need to start amalentuza future leaders summits all over the country so that we go and present this thing all over the country. But it will be good if singaqala lapha enzalo. Make it a point ukuthi this year sifuna youth strictly.
Asishayini convoy ke guys.
Thokoza.
Uyayivuma leyo Paul? No, I'm not joking. The same way shy convoy eDurban July. Asishayini convoy.
Ama-4 pipe now.
No, angisho ngama-4 pipe, ngamabhasi namataxi. No, asambeni.
No, sure.
I-23 zizobe zingole. I-23 zizobe zingolesihlanu.
Ngolesihlanu.
Yes.
Why don't we live on a Thursday?
Kumele sibe lapha Thursday vele nge-22.
Ama-convoy washaya ngama-4 pipe now.
Hayi angithi ama-4 pipe Paul. Angikhulumi ngama-4 pipe. Ngithi asilandelana naneni ngeyimoto.
Yes.
Whether it takes noma yini asambeni siyofunda.
Oh, I see.
So I'm saying I want to come and learn, and I'm on that journey. I've been on this journey for a few years. Still confused, but kuyaqala kancane kuyakhanya. It's not a journey 2-3 years, 4 years.
No.
It's a journey I believe now for the rest of my life.
It's a lifetime.
It's
No,
bigger
you're
than
quite
me.
correct with that.
So I'm
It's a
looking
lifetime.
forward to coming to Enzalo
Enzalo
Yelanga
Yelanga.
for the 23rd. But without this conversation, what have you been doing, or what happens lapayana on the 23rd Enzalo Yelanga? Oh, kuyalindela.
What happens?
Now, this is 23rd of September.
September.
Yes.
Sikhuluma ngeSeptember, man.
September.
Sikhuluma nge-New Year, man.
Yes.
Yes.
African New Year.
Yeah, not
Yes.
soccer.
So what happens on the 22nd? Siyalindela ngoba on the 22nd we are still in the season, in the African calendar. We are still in the season of Nut. You know, umphetikazi, meaning the principle that closes or finishes the cycle, right? Then Unut calls all other principles to come and assist in opening the gate for Umvelingane. Meaning ukuthi it's a 12-hour program from 6 ekseni to 6 6 ntambama to 6 ekseni. So each and every hour there's a dedication, you know, by a certain principle that opens the gate for Umvelingane ukuthi awele kalula on the 23rd. Nothing should stop Umvelingane. So that is where we are going to recharge. That is where we are going to revive our spiritual, ability.
Khona naleya waterfall lapha.
Yes. Siyohlambuluka. Then bese yes.
Yeah,
Siyogeza.
izibi zakho. Hlambulula umuntu.
Njoba ngivula ifoni yami ngifuna ngicela ukubonga ubhuti Inos.
Yeah.
Khona le Enzalo Yelanga. Ubhuti Inos ngaya Enzalo Yelanga wangibonisa wahamba nami ngashiya imoto lenzansi. He took me to that village. I didn't even know at some point there was a gold rush there back in the day.
Sure.
And in that entire area, as you are in it, you even see rocks
Yes.
that are are taller than 2 stories high, ne? But you can see, good man, these rocks look like ngathi besingaphansi kwamanzi at some point. Like ngathi that entire area besingaphansi kwamanzi. And then there's just many rocks nje that you can see ukuthi another thing ngathi amanzi bewa.
Yes.
Kodwa le uyabona you trying to tell me that this entire place was once underwater back in the day. Anyway, took us around that village. We walked sakibela intaba. We walked all the way to a point khona lapha enzalweni yelanga where he shows me 3 stones. I'll show you the pictures. Yeah, 3 stones, one maybe the size of this table, another one almost the size of this table, a little bit longer. But khona elinye elincane elingana nale studio lapha. Wathi kimi put Sibusiso. Uyawabona la matshe lawa. Ngiyakubona uphethe imofire and uze nawo la entabeni. Ibeke laphayana. Usho whatever ufuna ukuyisho. I'm just gonna walk away nje ngikiyekela. I'll explain to you the significance of why ngithi whatever your dreams, whatever your aspirations are, not only for your drink or your business, but just nje for impilo nje nabantu bakini nje nesizwe simnyama. What do you have in your mind? Khuluma nje lapho wangishiya ne nakaqeda wabuya kimi wathi kimi le ndawo le ilanga nalivela and then wangibonisa ezinye intaba lezansi wathi yabona those are the Maputo mountains. Ilanga nalivela lapha ekseni before lishaya anywhere in this whole country lishaya la. Nithi what? Athi yes, ilanga lishaya la qala. This is the first point lapho ilanga lishaya khona.
No, sure.
Ngabeka imofa yami ke lapho. Ngaze ngaphahlana ngayo, ngakhuluma nabaphansi. Ngaze ngashutha nezithombe. So put Inos ngiyabonga.
No, sure. Buka ke. Those 3 stones are very significant because the same alignment of the Giza complex. Remember, the Giza complex has 3 pyramids. Kunale central one enkulu, kunenye amanye amancane 2. They align with the stars of the Orion belt, the 3 stars of the Orion belt. So Ubabu Credo uthi that was a communication port with the people who are there in Ngulube. In those 3 stars of the
and the 3 stones lapha enzalweni
yes.
So most definitely besimlalela ke lo mrapper makathi moving through places, space and time. Khuluma ngaleyo.
Portal yandawo. Portal
so open windows, you port in, out.
Teleporting.
But ke umoya ke. Yes. Umoya. Yes.
And there's a lot to learn, man.
There's a lot to talk about. I mean, ngahlala la kushon la.
So I'm interested to come. Are you confirming ukuthi this year?
Oh no, definitely. No,
and join us in the convoy.
No.
Titina, on our side from our podcast, we'll organize with the team to say, guys, let us organize this convoy. Whoever is interested, maybe we'll even speak to companies that handle ama packages to say yokulala, all those things. Asambeni 822 and then besen beya nini?
23.
Oh, ngazi 23.
Yeah.
Okay, just one night.
It's just one night. Ukuthi ilanga melivele ekseni. Siyalamukela.
Salamukela silobele silapha
nesifundela khona. Asilali, sicula the whole night kube poetry, kube umlindelo nje but owesintu.
And apparently, according to Put Inos Narangisa Lapana, I took Noguza Nabantu from all over the world by Lala Lapana.
No, sure.
Yeah, Europeans, they come there because they understand the significance of that site. But into Tina Sila, Siseduze nje Impumalanga, you hop onto a car manje and you drive and you're there within 2 hours nyana. And stuff like that. So, you find Belgians coming there. You find, people coming from the Netherlands, coming there because, bayafunda. And bafunani? Bafuna le energy yethu. So bayeza all the way. Even noma good dream coast like higher, Kosumhlanga, KwaZulu, in Swaziland. You find Europeans there who are coming from Europe, ukuzokhabula lento this juju this magic, this energy is what it is abayifunayo bayidinga nabo, they know what bayidinga, but bayekhabula, but thina sila asifuna ukuyikhabula,
asazi nokwazi,
asikhabuleni man, asikhabuleni
yo. And that is the same energy eyenza that gave potential to our ancestors to not only rule Africa but the world. Ngalo moyo lapha. So le ndawo mele nithathe serious. Kahle kahle isigodlo sethu esikhulu. You know, itempeli lethu okumele silakhe. When we replicate some of the temples in Egypt, kumele silakhe lapha. But la kumele sibuse khona kulapha elentuzeni eDurban. La ichithela khona the electromagnetic field. Kula mele sakhe khona isakhiwo la kuyobusa khona amakhosi ethu la.
Sho ukuthi manje uzikalala iPremier League angeke mhlawumbe asivulela iBluff. Babuzikala.
Sacelile kwamba. Sisacelile bapromisile.
Bapromisile. Akasivulela iBluff man.
No, bapromisile ukuthi for next year bazozama ukwenza imizamo. Because nabo they were also embarrassed to hear ukuthi abelungu are telling us we cannot do our ceremonies in our own places. Why? Because currently they are occupied by them. So mawuya kubo bakutshela ukuthi no, this is a rugby field. We are not going to come here and then izoshaya igubhu zonke lezo. So yinto ebuhlungu ngesituation yomuntu omnyama. But that must come to an end. And iyoqedwa yini ke lento?
I know angicela sibambeni lapho nyabo.
Thokoza.
Bengicela ukuthi nase organize yonke into kahle soxhumana manje. I think we'll speak more often and we would like to collaborate and coordinate nani. And then nathi as a group here virtual mkhukhu ne hustlers corner. Nabangani bethu community yethu so beka indawo sohlangana kuyona, but we definitely would like to be a part of it. Anyone out there who is interested, I know you guys will write some information on the comment section. We'll work on it behind the scenes, but we'll keep reporting. But before actually the 23rd of September, I think we'll have to have another meeting like this on the podcast. Ubanike report back. Just before.
No, just before.
Coming about August. This is what we planned.
Yes.
This is what's happening.
Before
These are the dates. These are the
sure.
times. Yeah.
No, about July, so that to give them enough time.
Yeah.
Actually, we need to prepare not only siyo phahla lapha, but also sikhabulisa.
Yeah.
So that youth come back there with a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
So that bayazi responsibility up. Oh, what I wanted to close with. Uzobe seThekwini.
Or are you going to the
20?
May 21?
Manje
20 is
wena
that
ngeke
June?
kwenze kube lapha eroundini.
20 is next week.
Yeah, it's next week. Uzobe seDurban now.
Uzenze plan. If umvulani uyaya
uzobe
eduzane kwaMvulani. So much so that ngizwile ukuthi umvulani he's back. By the way, he's back on radio. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank
Radio
you.
2000.
Thank you.
What are the times on? Are you on air?
I'm on Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. It's a show called Classic Society. And then I come back on Saturday as well, between 12 midday and 3. A show called Space and Time. We teleport. Nice. And then Sunday, I'm also joined by Mkhulu.
Yes.
I come in quite
session,
late,
yeah.
between 10 ebusuku and midnight. And then we have a session again on Mkhulu. The show is called Indaba Yengoma.
Indaba yengo.
Ingoma isigubhu
At 10:30.
ingoma ubuntu bethu as black people makuyo initiate kwezinye inkalo kuyiwe engomeni indaba
That's the
yengoma.
concept that I would like to work with you on and turn it into a podcast.
Oh, indaba
Paul,
yengoma.
izinto seyishintshile siku-internet manje. And I love what you're doing. But in Paul, I've always wanted myself next to him. Even noma i-career yami isaqala. Into engayithanda. Wangivulela amasango. I was a nobody. Angangazi ngiwunobody futhi ngizondele wangivulela amasango. That's why I just loved him for the till today.
No,
Spirit sakhe nomoya wakhe. So I love also what he's doing there. But I cannot believe a lot of our audiences bahlale bakhala but we need more of this information. Buyisana omkhulu, buyisana nabanye.
Sure.
Come on, Sbu, we need more of this knowledge.
Correct.
And I do know Paul also in his own right sits with a lot of it because he's been khabuling from you guys for many years. So I would really like to recruit Paul into this podcast space so that we can bring you guys and others so this knowledge can be.
Yes.
I would have loved to have done it on this podcast, but I also understand the DNA of this podcast was not just about spirituality. It was something else, inspiration, entrepreneurship, educational, personal development, etc. But we can use this vehicle to birth other vehicles.
No, sure.
That become an
That
asset
is very important
to the people out there. Yeah.
So, just to mention, next year, in September, we will also be launching a GEK Great Empire of Kemet, a virtual university. So, Abantu will no longer struggle to get this knowledge because it will be online. We'll be offering online classes. You know, African history, African spirituality, our own science, our own mathematics, so that youth doesn't struggle. Ukuthi, hi man, you know, ivela kancane le knowledge. So we will be launching that as well on that day.
And thank you. I mean, I follow your YouTube channel. A great empire of Kemet movement. Basically, it's Kek movement.
Bona bakhulu baseKem.
Bona bakhulu baseKem.
Yeah.
Check it out, guys, on YouTube. I checked out a beautiful lecture. Yaka Dr. Rutendo.
Sure.
The concept of Ntu.
Yes.
That was a beautiful
Yes.
lecture. Your doctor would love to have you here as well. Oh, we have to. Maybe that will be our first guest on our.
Yes.
Yes.
That is if you come on board.
No.
Guys, I'm so convinced to Paul Utangene podcast. We need you, Paul. Yeah. And thank you.
Hayi no, sizai kuzokhuluma umoya. Yes.
Ngiyabonga Paul mfethu for the role that you've played in the media industry. What you've been since our youth days.
Yes.
I get a lot of into encane mina sezingilanda manje ukuthi sibuda njoba sesiba growth sesislam sesinama family wethu khane sibona ukuthi lespanbo usishaya usithaza si important kanjani.
Yes.
Cha growth man.
Man.
So mina ngisho lokho kuwe khane ngibona the work you've been doing.
Shoot bolele ndoda.
Bengilela uthamba.
Bisho makafula tulela lele kamnandi dakhe. But lavuka
Ekhane
khona.
papa.
Lavuka khona asambeni.
Ekhane papa Paul ekhane
ngoba
papa.
bathi umuntu akalahlwa indoda ayishiye, you know, asambeni. Yeah.
Asambeni ke se-Phoenix.
Asambeni.
Se-Phoenix
I love you, my brother.
Love you, mate. Yeah.
We are there on Monday.
Guys, I'm your hero. Approach you Mvulani. He's no longer Rudeboy Paul. He's Paul Wemvu.
Yeah, uphaxa mafumba fumela umthamo nyembezi into uthona zemfuna phansi amaphela athi lot. Untomzi mcela ukhisi noma ehamba noma.
Sakala manyala.
Mkhulu yo last week.
Ngithi ungakhohlwa ukubathumela iposter ke.
Hayi ngizoshare yonke.
Ungakhohlwa ukubathumela iposter yase Phoenix.
Nase ready. Oh yase Phoenix yamanje.
Yango-June.
Nayo sizoyishare
Thokoza.
and then also information as it keeps on developing we'll keep sharing.
Thokoza.
But we are definitely in.
No,
we
Thokoza.
are it's not only we're not only just talking anymore. We are executing and we are acting. So khuleka phambili. Angeke sikhuleke futhi. Lapho esikhuleka khona abanye bayoyibamba baqhubeke nayo.
Kanjalo malifezeke iphupho labansundu.
Yebo.
Izweleni. See you guys on the next video. Izweleni.
Yebo.
This is the Hustlers Corner.